Hi there, welcome. I'm Damien Haig, I'm the head teacher of the University of Liverpool Maths School. We were just having a chat, Caleb, George and I, about our sign here, which says, and I won't pronounce the Greek, says, "Let no one leave here ignorant of geometry." George, tell us about the origin of that.
But Plato's original quote was, "Let no one enter here ignorant of geometry." And I think that that's, while it's a good quote, it's a bit kind of hypocritical of coming to a maths school, because it implies by definition that you're going to walk in here already knowing geometry. But the whole point of the maths school is to leave knowing geometry, not geometry.
That's right. So Plato's Academy really was the original maths school, and a great deal of what was taught at Plato's Academy was geometry and mathematics.
That's what we've been inspired by now.
Yeah,
Teaching
that's
more
right.
students maths as we go on.
That's it. So we're really glad that you're interested in coming to work with us to learn some mathematics. So we're going to let now Caleb and George take you through a tour of the school.
Thank you. So this is the main entrance to the school. Here we have some notices for different clubs that are going on. So for example, you can see that today Aurora has the Oxford Pat and Hair Room, or Steve, who's the computer science teacher, has robotics and coding. So when you come in each morning, you can just have a look at all the different clubs that are on. For example, we did gaming yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we do chess on a Thursday, and then on Friday we have movie club. So yeah, it's really good.
Luckily as well, all the clubs were chosen by students, for students. So it's not like being forced on you to do like kind of academic clubs. It's clubs that fit our interest, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and it's quite nice as well because it gives you a break from the work that we do. Because if you're doing the clubs that you actually want to do at lunch, then it doesn't just feel like an extra pressure that you've got on top. So it's nice.
No, I quite like it. And as well, I quite like the dynamic because the teachers get involved as well, which is quite nice because I suppose that helps build the relationship between students and teachers outside of the classroom as well. So,
nice.
Let's move on.
Along the corridor, we have different staff profiles as well. So, for example, you can see our administrator and our receptionists here. So it's quite good just going around and seeing all them because you can see the picture of the staff, and then you get to learn a bit about them because you can see where they've studied and then what their ambitions are and their interests. So that was nice that when they got put up. And then we also have different profiles for different mathematicians. So for example, this one's Alan Turing, because the hall, which is here, the main hall, is called the Alan Turing Hall. So they're really good because as students we selected what we wanted the different rooms to be named after, and we pushed for a lot of women in STEM as well.
Yeah, because right now the STEM subjects are heavily male dominated. So I think that it's very important that for us as a maths school as well to try and promote more women into STEM. So you'll find that some of the different rooms are named after famous female mathematicians, which is quite nice.
What's our form named after?
Catherine Johnson.
Because you suggested that, didn't you? Yeah.
Catherine Johnson.
Okay. This is the main hall. We have a grand piano that just got brought in today. It's a surprise for all of us, so we just came in. So this is where we have different assemblies on a Wednesday. So we've had a few different speakers come in, haven't we? Who have we had so far? We've
been fortunate enough to have someone from CERN come in and talk to us about his job and what he likes to do, and that was over a video call, so making use of Zoom. But that was quite interesting as well because obviously his career links into the subjects that we're studying here at the maths school, and I think that it's unique to the maths school that the teachers have got such good connections with people in CERN and in other careers that are kind of linked to what we do at A-level.
Yeah, it gets you excited for the future of maths, doesn't it? Because you get to learn about all the different things that they could be doing. Because we also had someone come in who was starting at Cambridge. Well, I think she started now, but when she came in, she hadn't started. And then she was telling us about all the different things that she'd done during year 12. So it was good to get an insight into what's best for us to do now, and it was also just interesting in general to learn about the different opportunities of university that you can go on to do.
I think it's quite motivating as well to have these people who are doing such amazing things, going to these great universities, doing this wonderful job, and they've all come from similar backgrounds to us.
Yeah, because what you hear from a lot of the people is they often say, "Oh, I wish I could have gone to this school," and so that's what everyone says, don't they? Yeah. So it's good that we get to be the first sort of students to experience it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay. Just down here we have the computer science room. So this is where all our computer science classes happen, which is taught by Steve, which his profile is just here. Drawing a blank.
We find some of our students working very hard. Gives a wave.
So can students, what subjects are happening at the moment? Is this a normal lesson?
No, this is... I know some of the sixth forms give you quite a lot of free periods, but we don't get loads. But I think that's kind of better. I prefer not having loads because at least I know that when I'm in school, most of my time is spent learning and not... Because I know a lot of people who are kind of just sitting around a little bit, not doing an awful lot. But as you can see, in the one free period, time is being spent well. Catching up on work, making sure that we're on top of the game before the lessons kick off again.
Yeah, so we do get, and then just through here, we have the... Even though there's less pupils, we do have loads of space, so we're able to spread out as well. And it's really good because we each have sort of our own little study rooms that we can go to as well, that we tend to spend during whenever we've got breaks or lunch. So it's nice just to break out into them as well whenever we get a chance just to...
And as well, the study rooms have got whiteboards on the wall, which is quite nice because I've found myself already getting a little bit stuck on some of the maths. So I've found it quite useful to be able to sit around with friends and then go through some of the stuff.
Yeah, we all like to help each other out. And then in here we have Colin's maths room. Hi Colin.
So that's cos 3x because it happens 3 times in the same period. Yeah? That makes sense? Now when we say stretch parallel to the x-axis, that's because what we've done is we've swapped it that way. Yeah?
We've actually only recently moved into this room, but it's been really nice. We all just get to spread out together, and then it's quite nice as well because in a lot of the classrooms you can sort of work together with different pupils, and all the teachers tend to have different styles. So we have 3 maths teachers at the moment, and then I'd say that Damien, who's the head teacher that teaches us, has a lot of more of like a university lecture type style.
Yeah, it is kind of lecture style, but also it has that kind of intimacy that you wouldn't get at university. So I think it's kind of the nice bridge between school and university, which I suppose will make the transition in 2 years' time to university a lot better.
Yeah, well that's the main reason we're here, because everyone who comes to this school knows that they want to do maths in the future, so that means that we're all at a similar level, so that just makes the lessons a lot easier, I imagine, for the teachers to plan as well, because we're all higher level, and then we can all help each other as well when we're getting stuck.
And as well, we're quite lucky that we've got some really good teachers.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find in other schools they might have teachers who are a bit half-hearted. But I suppose that's because the kids are half-hearted as well. But at least here, because everyone is passionate about maths and so are the teachers, it's quite a nice learning environment.
Yeah. So even though this is a maths school, it's good to get a perspective on physics as well, because you get an insight and you find that a lot of the time the subjects overlap, and you get that a lot with computer science as well. All the subjects tend to overlap. For example, in physics, when we're doing equations with graphs, specifically, for when you're like plotting from your experiments, that then links in with what you're studying with maths. So it's good because everything that you learn over the period of a week tends to slot together.
I've quite enjoyed physics so far because of Aurora. Because sometimes you find that if you're not fully understanding something and you ask and say, can you explain it again? The teacher might kind of give up on you, but Aurora carries on fighting through. And always tries to explain something in a different way. So if it hasn't been in the first time, she'll happily say it again and again and again until it sticks.
We all think different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, all that matters in the end is that we understand. So,
Yeah.
yeah, well, and then you practice at thinking the different ways of looking at a problem, so it's good to try to think like other person.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you.
So this is another one of our physics classrooms. This is Dave's classroom actually, who's taking us around the tour right now. So we don't have as many lessons with Dave, but he tends to cover different areas with us. So for example, during the first couple of weeks we've been doing about practical work, which sort of
draw
mixes in
tables.
with, yeah, and how to draw tables
like
and
that,
graphs
yeah.
and make
Which I suppose is quite nice because obviously at GCSE you've got to draw a lot of graphs, a lot of tables. However, at A level it's slightly different. So I think that it's good to start out with learning the basics that you need to know. Because it makes everything else that bit easier when you carry on throughout the course.
Yeah, and a lot of our materials have started to arrive now, which means that we've been able to start doing practicals. So yesterday I was doing a hook saw practical, which was really interesting. And what was good was because we've just got the new materials, all the equations worked out perfectly as we were doing it. Yeah.
I haven't done it
So
yet,
when I plotted the graph, it worked really well, and it's just good to be in a brand new environment because when you're in your old schools, you tend to be working with equipment that's
years old.
But
And as well, you find that a lot of students might not be very forgiving with the equipment, so it might be a bit rough and might not treat it properly. So I suppose that because we're all hopefully quite nice and all the equipment's brand new, it is going to be looked after properly, and it will work for years to come.
Yeah.
With all the students.
And then just here we have the library as well, which sometimes if the computer room's closed, you can come in here to do a bit of work. We're currently trying to get a few more books in at the moment, but we already have a big collection of maths books at the moment. And people have started to check them out already, haven't they?
Yeah,
On the list. So you were looking at some the other day. Which one were you really interested in?
Humble Pie.
I mean,
Yeah, I quite like that. A lot of the books, while there are textbooks to link with the course that we're doing now, as well as kind of the older textbooks, I like that. There's a lot of other general around the kind of subject reading, which makes you look at maths instead of it being like question after question. Makes you look at it in a kind of different way and more like a real life application. Because sometimes people struggle to see how like working out an equation is going to link to a real life thing, but it does.
Yeah.
So, and these books can help you find out why and how.
And quite a lot of our books actually belong to the head teacher Damien. He's lent us quite a lot of them. So he was saying,
Nice guy.
yeah, he was saying that he wants people to be really careful with them because he's owned them for years and now they're getting passed on to the next lot of students. Just through here we have one of our maths classrooms. So this is Niles Classroom. So Nile runs the Aspiring Maths programme. And he also has the normal maths lessons. So that means that you get a mix of lessons with Nile.
Yeah.
You have the normal maths lessons where you learn all about the A-level content that we're doing and just ground your ability in what we're going to be tested on in 2 years' time. But then during the Aspiring Maths programmes, you get a chance to extend your maths knowledge. So we tend to be doing a lot of step questions at the moment.
Yeah, and I know that's quite unique to the maths school, because I know that at my old school, none of them have even, well, no one even knows what step is. And
which step are the Cambridge entrance exams, by the way, yeah.
So I think that being somewhere like this, especially so early as well, to start getting your foot in the door, and at first it can be quite overwhelming to look at these questions, and they don't look too difficult, but they always are quite challenging. And while you might feel a bit stuck at first, that's natural. But I suppose it's better to feel stuck now, and then when the actual exam comes about, to be able to get right through it.
Yeah.
So I'm finding now that I'm actually being able to attempt a good chunk of the question. And I think that's quite special to the maths school, because no other school does it.
Yeah, because we're a month in now, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I'd say that especially for the first couple of weeks, when you first see the questions for the first time, you're like, whoa,
It is like,
what is this?
What am I meant to do?
Yeah, what am I meant to do? But as you get more, which is all you need, as you get more and more practice doing them, they become less impossible and more, oh, I can see where I need to do that. Or you start to see where the same sort of thing comes up over and over again. And it's by going to a maths school like this that you'll get the practice early on, so that when you're doing entrance exams in 2 years' time, you'll have really good practice on it. So
I think it makes these impossible questions seem a bit like a jigsaw.
Yeah.
Because maths is just a series of steps. It's like a jigsaw, a series of pieces to put together. And I think that that these questions are basically just big, complex jigsaws that you've got to try and solve in 3 hours.
And it's also really satisfying when you get an answer that's just x equals 2.
Definitely,
like pages worth of questions, and it's just x equals 2. Easy.
So, it is quite nice.
Yep, that's Niles Classroom. Just in here, we actually have Niles' office. This is also
Just waved.
Hello.
The man behind Step.
Niles also my form tutor. He's our form tutor
Yeah.
actually, and we also get one-on-one with him every 2 weeks. Is it? Yeah. Which is a good time because even though we have normal form, which is a good time to just talk about the general stuff like, oh, what clubs do you want to do, and what should we name the rooms,
And what else is going on around
what's
school.
going on in the school. The one-on-one time's really good just to see how you're doing. So just to talk about, oh, are you struggling with this? How are you revising? Are you keeping all your work up to date?
And as well, that is unique to this math school because it is such a small school. They've got time to kind of sit down one-to-one with the students and just talk about how you're feeling. So it's not all just maths, numbers, this, equations, that. There is actually time to enjoy yourself, but also time to make sure that you're feeling okay and that everything's going all right in school, which is quite nice because sometimes that can be overlooked when studying such difficult subjects.
Yeah, I mean, so far I think everyone's sort of had a day where they feel like, oh, I just don't understand what we done in computer science, oh, the maths test went really bad, but because you've got the time of your breaks to talk to your friends and to have the one-on-one, you can sort of speak to the teachers and say, look, I really don't understand that, and they'll spend the time to go over it with you again.
And it helps plug those little gaps in knowledge as well.
Yeah.
Like I found myself after school with Damien a couple of nights so far, going back over some algebra. And even though the algebra is more difficult than what's actually in the A-level, obviously it's good to get that bit further and go that bit beyond what you need to know.
Yeah.
Because it makes the things in the A-level so much easier. Quite like.
And then here we have Damien, the head teacher Damien's room as well,
office,
just working away.
Hello. How's it going?
It's alright.
Really well.
So far.
Sounds like you're doing a great job, guys. I can overhear some of what you're saying.
We were just telling everyone about the one-on-one form time we have and how it's good that we can just talk to the teachers and get a perspective on what's going on.
So do you value that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
oh,
good.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure how important that would be to people when
I think it's very important because, like I said to the tour, that a lot of other schools, because they're so big and haven't got kind of quite a nice teacher-to-student ratio, they haven't got time to spend with students to check how they're doing.
Yeah.
And even if like you're perfectly fine, just to know that every 2 weeks you've got a time to sit down and just talk about how you are, it's quite nice, I think.
Yeah, it's really good.
I value it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's good because you listen to the students as well. Because during the first couple of weeks when we didn't have as much work, everyone did sort of say, oh, the school day's a little bit too long or we don't need those breaks. And then you've listened to us and sort of modified it, so it's
Well,
good.
not much though, yeah.
Not much. You are listening to what we're suggesting.
Yeah, we're
definitely.
certainly very interested in making it right for you guys, and it's we're creating a new school together, aren't we? So we don't know exactly how it has to be yet. So things can be quite flexible, and we can change things. But what I knew at the time was that things were going to get busier, and you'd start to value those.
We
those
did value the
breaks.
extra time.
So yeah, it's good. It's working really well.
Yeah.
How are you finding the class sizes being in a class of 15? Is that all right?
Oh, that's perfect. Because I know at GCSE that I was in a class of like 32,
Yeah.
almost. And I found that sometimes if something didn't click first time, when you put your hand up, the teacher comes round, says something once and has to walk away to someone else.
Yeah.
And there's never enough time for you. But now that there's only 15 in a class, and obviously there's a lot of teachers, and you get the one-to-one, there's plenty of time to ask for help.
Yeah.
Which I quite like.
But does it feel intimidating that you've got some students in the class who do get everything first time and want to go on to harder stuff? Do you find that off-putting at all?
No, because after all, it's our own individual progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that obviously it's good that they understand, and I suppose that, I don't know.
Yeah. So there is quite a high level of challenge in some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
and as well, it kind of pushes you forward to try and be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's good because there is slightly more competition in a way, but in a way that's good because normally when you did a maths test, you know that even if you did no revision at all, you could still easily beat half the class.
Oh yeah,
Now
definitely.
you know that you've got to go.
Because at
home.
GCSE, we were all kind of top of the class.
Yeah.
Right.
But now it's not like that. So, which I quite like it. I quite like the
little
new.
fish in a big pond now.
Yeah, and there's kind of that personal challenge as well.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, I was the best, but now I'm not. So, want to be the best? Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons why at math schools the value added between Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5 is really high. I think it's partly that stretch, the fact that people feel challenged by the other students that are around them, but not threatened by them, but challenged.
Oh
by
no,
them.
definitely not threatened. Definitely not.
And it's partly also that the teachers that you've got are really enthusiastic about their teaching, aren't they? We're proper geeks.
Yeah.
And we can't help it.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying before as well. Like, you find that some teachers in other schools might not be as passionate as you guys are.
Yeah.
It's hard to be passionate, to be fair.
Hard to be passionate if you've got students that are messing about all the time, but
Yeah.
because we all want to be here, you know that you can do and plan a good lesson that we will value as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, you're a delight to teach, you guys. It's easy to
Thank
feel
you.
that.
Along this corridor, everyone's sort of got their own study room, and it's nice because in your groups of 6, you can just go in there and then have a space that you know that just where your friends can go.
Yeah, and as well, it's quite a nice, because they are kind of like classrooms, like the size, but it's nice to have sort of that space to be able to sit down and do some work. Let's go in. Hello, this is for the virtual tour. Yeah.
So this is an example of one of the study rooms. So you've designed yours up quite well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Haven't you?
Yeah, but like we were saying, it is quite a nice space to sit down and do some work outside of lectures.
Yeah. And we've got our whiteboards in here as well, and as you can see, it's just been rubbed up on the board. People often like to do maths questions in the middle of our breaks as well. Still keeping our mind ticking over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to say? Thanks, guys.
So down here we have more study rooms as well. So I think there's 3 along the whole corridor. So here's another study room.
Yes, another one.
Hi everyone. What are you doing right now?
I am Matt Hangman. Yeah, find a fun side in maths. Why
Do
not?
you want to guess some questions? Any lessons?
A. Oh, you
Yeah.
oh no.
Is L there?
Ah, right.
Sorry, I'm really.
We're ruining the game.
It's maths related.
D. But it is quite nice to have to relax a bit.
What?
Because there is lots of lessons and lots of hard work. So have a little cheeky game of hangman.
And then just in here
Perfect.
we have our study room. This is actually our one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as you can see, we still need to do a bit more
And we're currently
organisation.
counting down to Christmas. We've also got some computer science on the board, so it's, you know, yeah, but got to look forward to Christmas.
You decided to plan early for Christmas, haven't you?
Oh, I love Christmas.
Are you still going to bring a Christmas tree in here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but that's what I quite like as well. The fact that like the study rooms are so personal.
Yeah.
That because they are ours, we can kind of decorate it how we want.
Yeah.
And kind of make it our own little home away from home.
We're in a little space where you can go away from class. Yeah, it's been really good.
We have got a prayer room as well for any students.
On the third floor as well, we have the smaller study rooms, which is nice if you just want to go. That's more for quiet revision, if you just wanted to do revision by yourself rather than being surrounded by your group. And then in here we have the kitchen. So we actually have quite a lot more facilities than you would in a normal sixth floor, haven't we?
Yeah, I quite like it because obviously people come in, make toast, there's freezers, dishwasher, and I think that cleaner thing is so cool. When you put a cup on it, it's great, it's so cool. But yeah, and as well as water fountains around the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is treating you more like an adult than as a student. Like when you're in secondary school, you know, you line up for lunch, you go and sit down, you pick up your plate, and it's all very like strict and controlled. Whereas this is so open and free. You can leave to go and get food. You can bring food in and make it yourself. And it's quite nice to know that you're trusted with these sorts of facilities like a kettle.
Yeah.
And they're not going to start jugging someone with it.
Yeah, we've got the freedom to do more because they trust us more.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, we have laptops that recently come into the school. And Damien was talking about putting in a system to like check out the laptop and then, you know, so you could use it during your freeze. But he said in our assembly the other day that we're all such well-behaved students that he trusts us all. So in one of the classrooms, we just have 16 laptops in the back.
Yeah, that you can pick up and take
and
wherever.
because if you need to do work during your frees or during your lunch, then they trust us enough to just
as well.
yeah, to just go and get it.
Because well, sometimes you'll find that like if you're from a less well-off background, you might struggle to have facilities to be able to complete work. But I suppose being at the maths school is quite nice because all the facilities are here, so nothing's limiting you from succeeding really, which is quite nice.
Yeah, you have support in everything that you do.
Yeah.
And just through here we have another one of our kitchens, but that's really similar to the other ones as well.
Oh no. The camera is here, the camera is here.
That's alright.
It's not 102, it doesn't diverge.
I'm doing well.
It clearly doesn't diverge.
I mean, it definitely diverges, but do you agree with me?
No, it doesn't converge, even not converge or diverge. No, I disagree.
But it's nice as well to see people kind of using their free time to try and better themselves and make themselves better at maths. And as well, like that stuff we haven't covered yet in the course. I mean, we'll cover it at some point. But it's nice that people want to kind of get ahead. I quite like it. It's quite nice.
I mean, I don't feel as though at any point during lunch or break that I'm just sat there just like, oh, I've got nothing to do. Like, there's always something, not necessarily there's pressure to do it, but there's always something that you could do.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah.
But as well, I quite value having kind of sit down and just speaking to friends. I quite like it as well. So, yeah, but it is that chance to do both if you wanted to. So you can work if you choose to, but also you can sit down and socialise. I quite like it.
Yes.
Quite relaxing as well.
I hope this tour was helpful for you. You can find more details about the maths school on our website, or you could get in contact with one of the teachers or Damien, or you could try and follow us on Instagram because you can see lots of the stuff that we're getting up to on there. Hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah,
Bye.
we do.